Hello there everybody, how is it going and how have you been? I am EuclideanSqd, and we're back here in Duel Links to check out Tyranno Hassleberry's Unlock event. Now, Hassleberry has shown up in the game before. I want to say it was maybe a month or two ago, but he was only a roaming duelist at that point. Now we can actually properly unlock him as a character to use and level up with. So, I'm excited for that, mostly because that means more gems to get by leveling up a character. But he's also going to likely have some pretty interesting cards and stuff along the way. He does have some new rewards as well to get, so can't complain about some new cards. Now, from what I've seen mechanics-wise, his unlock event is about as plain vanilla as they possibly can be. You duel against NPCs or in the PvP arena, you gather up your tokens, in this case they're called dinosaur fossils, and then you spend them at the gate. There's no extra mechanics, there's no bells, there's no whistles, it's just the most basic set of unlock rules ever. So, with that quickly explained, let's go ahead and check out the deck. Now this is the deck that I was using against his roaming version, and from what I've seen, his unlock event deck is pretty much identical to what he had before. And one thing I do want to mention right off the bat is that this is not going to be the most consistent farming deck possible. There are better options out there. However, because I like to show off decks that are easier / cheaper to assemble for players who maybe don't have the time or the money to put into the game, or just looking for cheaper options because they just don't have certain cards, this one's actually pretty good. Not great, but considering most of the other farming decks I saw were very heavily reliant on event cards, this one is the most easy one to replicate and swap out event cards for. So that's your trade-off there, is easier to make, not going to be as consistent. But the strategy is pretty simple. You rely on these two Cloudians, Cirrostratus and Acid Cloud, as well as the field spell Sanctuary in the Sky to block battle damage. Then, as is usual, you just sort of sit and gather up life points with Golden Ladybug, and then on the final turn, you summon Neo Parshoth. It gains attack equal to the difference in your life points, and then you just punch any one of Tyranno's Hassleberry's monsters, and that's game. Now, there are cards in his deck that can very easily sabotage this strategy, and I will go over those, but first, this deck I originally got from the Game A website. However, that website has since announced that it had found it from a blog spot. So I will be linking back to the blog, but this deck is going to be very, very different than the one you see there. First off, the deck from the blog has another Cloudian in it called EuclideanSqd. I'm not using that. Its effects are pretty much identical to Cirrostratus and Acid Cloud. Can't be destroyed in battle, destroys itself if it's in face-up defense position. When it's normal summoned, it gains a fog counter for every face-up Cloudian monster. But the effect that it has when it uses those fog counters is just not as good as what these two have to offer. So Cirrostratus can give up its fog counters to destroy monsters. Acid Cloud can give them up to destroy spells and trap cards. But all that Altus does is let you discard a random card from your opponent's hand. And the two spell cards in Hassleberry's deck that are the biggest threat to this strategy, Tail Swipe and Earthquake, he will likely just play as soon as he draws them. So Altus really can't protect you from those at all. Adding it to this deck doesn't really help that much because you need both the Cloudian as well as the field spell, and adding too many Cloudians is just going to lower your chances of drawing said field spell. So I'm not using Altus. If you want to try it, I would recommend swapping out a Cirrostratus and an Acid Cloud for two Altuses. Just try to keep it at about 6 Cloudians. That seems to work kind of the best. But in terms of drawing the field spell, this is where another change has happened. So this deck is using Planet Pathfinder, because the original recipe calls for a monster called Zeratias, Herald of Heaven. Now, Zeratias you can discard from your hand to search out Sanctuary in the Sky, whereas Planet Pathfinder has to first be normal summoned, and then you tribute it to add a field spell from your deck to your hand, like Sanctuary in the Sky. I'm using Planet Pathfinder because 1, Zeratias is a super rare card, and 2, Zeratias was only available through an event that happened many, many months ago. And 3, also pretty sure that you can't get Zeratias through most of the super rare tickets you can easily get. Maybe you could have gotten it through like a login bonus ticket or something like that, but as far as I'm aware, outside of very specific circumstances, Zeratias is just completely unavailable at the moment, and Planet Pathfinder is going to be your next best option. Additionally, and this is another change that I often make, the original recipe calls for the Winged Dragon of Ra, but as far as I know, Ra is only available through the Yami Merrick event, and if you don't have him, you simply don't have him. There's no other way to get Ra, as far as I am aware. So, Neo Parshoth is a good backup for that, although you will be missing out on a few dual assessment score, or categories, I should say, because you do get a bonus 1,000 for summoning a divine monster like the Winged Dragon of Ra. But otherwise, Neo Parshoth is a perfectly acceptable substitute, especially when you're running a Sanctuary in the Sky deck like this. And I'm trying to think, there was one other... Oh, yeah. So, the original recipe also called for this counter trap card called Divine Punishment. Now, as you can see, this is another super rare card. However, it's got a pretty good effect. Activate only if the Sanctuary in the Sky is face up on the field. Negate the activation of a spell card, trap card, or effect monster's effect, and destroy that card. However, this is another event-only card. In fact, you could only get it through the same event that gave you Zeratias. So if you don't have Zeratias, you probably don't have this, and you're probably also out of luck when it comes to using this very superior counter trap card. But that does not mean you're completely out of options, because there is this thing that is a pretty decent substitute. This is Ultimate Providence. It is another counter trap card, however it says when a spell, trap, card, or monster effect is activated, discard the same type of card to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So it's not just a free negation like Divine Punishment is. You do have to discard something like a spell card to counter his spell cards. But that also kind of ties into why I have Cloudian Squalls in this deck when the original recipe doesn't call for it. Aside from generating fog counters on Acid Cloud and Cirrus Stratus to kind of help you just level stuff on his field and keep his options limited, you can also discard copies of these things for Ultimate to counter Hassleberry's 2 dangerous spell cards with your Ultimate Providences. And then finally, we have some good Goblin Housekeepings for a decent amount of draw and recycle, just in case you get something like Neo Parshoth early on in the duel and you need to put it back into the deck to try and search for something that's a little bit more useful, like Ultimate Providence. And then lastly, Anti-Magic Arrows, just because I don't trust the AI at all. There shouldn't be any sort of trap cards or quick play spells that Hassleberry can use to block your attack with Neo Parshoth, but I like having this in just in case. Plus, in a pinch, you can use this as a spell card to ditch for to use Ultimate Providence. So, very heavily modified off the base recipe that I found, but this is pretty much as free-to-play / budget-friendly as I can see. And still have a decent chance of winning with a respectably high dual assessment score. Now, as I mentioned, he does have a few new reward cards. I'm going to be skipping over the vanilla normal because it's garbage, but his other normal is this thing called Evilsaur Terius. It is a level 6 fire dinosaur with 2400 attack and 600 defense, and a very odd effect that says when this card is special summoned by the effect of an Evotile monster, it loses 500 attack. Not entirely sure how you're supposed to use that to your advantage, but that still leaves it as a 1900 monster. Especially because this other card, Evotile Pluro, says that when it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon an Evilsaur monster from your hand. So, I mean, what was that thing called? Terius? Terius could be better, but the fact that Pluro is a level 1 fire reptile with 200 attack and defense that, when destroyed, will let you replace it with a 1900 dinosaur, that's a respectable trade-off, I guess. This is one of his older reward cards, Black Velocity. This is a level 4 Earth dinosaur with 1800 attack and 300 defense. If this card attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 400 attack during the damage step. However, if it gets attacked by an opponent's monster, it loses 400 attack during the damage step. So very powerful on offense, really, really bad on defense. And then Hassleberry's final rare card is Frostosaurus, a level 6 water dinosaur, normal monster with 2600 attack and 1700 defense. Pretty beefy stats for a level 6, so definitely some things you can use it for. Probably not the best dinosaur in the game, but it's up there. I mean, 2600 is nothing to sneeze at for a 1 tribute monster. We're getting into the super rares now. This is Hassleberry's last of the new reward cards, if that sentence makes sense. Survival's End. This is just a regular trap card, however, you destroy as many normal monsters on the field as possible, and if you do, you special summon level 4 or lower dinosaur type monsters from your deck up to the number destroyed, but those get destroyed during the end phase. So, very destructive effects. However, this card also has the secondary effect of you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a dinosaur type monster you control, one card your opponent controls, and destroy them both. Now, my first thoughts when I look at this card is, because you have to be wary about that end phase self-destruction effect, my best recommendation, at least that I can come up with off the top of my head at like 1:30 in the morning, is you attack with a bunch of normal dinosaurs. Then activate Survival's End, destroy all of them, summon a new set of like 2 or 3 more normal dinosaurs, and attack with those. Or, alternatively, once you summon the new set, banish Survival's End to destroy one of them and a face down or some big scary monster that your opponent may still have. This has some options. The only downside is that it will likely leave your field barren at the end of the turn when you finish activating it. Although, all of that said, it doesn't touch effect monsters. So, well, it doesn't touch effect monsters at first. However, if you special summon level 4 or lower effect dinosaurs, those will get destroyed by the effects. So just, it can be useful. It just seems like something that you can very easily put yourself at a disadvantage if you activate it at the wrong time. So just be mindful if you try to use this. And then the rest of these cards are older rewards, as you can probably tell. Volcanic Eruption, regular trap during your end phase. If you control Jurassic World, destroy all cards on the field. It's field wipe. The only problem is it happens at the end of your turn, so your opponent just gets free reign to start countering. But could be useful, possibly. Moving on, we have Miracle Jurassic Egg, a level 4 Earth Dinosaur, 0 attack, 2000 defense. While face up on the field, this card cannot be banished. Each time a dinosaur-type monster is sent to your graveyard, place 2 counters on this card. You contribute this card to special summon a dinosaur-type monster from your deck whose level is less than or equal to the number of counters that were on this card. So, decent at defending, I guess, but the special summoning effect is pretty slow to charge. And the other problem is that it's not per dinosaur-type monster that's sent to the graveyard, it's just every time at least one is. So, for example, if your opponent makes you like toss the top 2 cards from your deck, and they're both dinosaurs, Miracle Jurassic Egg will only get 2 counters, because you lost two dinosaurs at one time, if that makes sense. At least, I'm pretty sure that's how the effect works out. Last of Hassleberry's super rares is Black Stego, a level 4 Earth Dinosaur. This is a very good card, and it frustrated me to no end because I didn't get my my 3rd copy of it until like 20 minutes before the Roaming Duelist event ended. But 1200 attack, 2000 defense, and if this face-up attack position card is ever targeted for an attack, it immediately switches into defense position. So it will either A, defend itself and deal recoil damage, or B, defend itself and make sure that you don't take any battle damage from that resulting battle, even though it got destroyed. Very nice monster. I like it. I like it a lot. This is a very good dinosaur. And then currently Hassleberry's only ultra rare is the level 4 Earth Dinosaur Giant Rex with 2000 attack and 1200 defense. Giant Rex cannot attack directly, and if this card is banished, you can special summon this card, and if you do, it gains 200 attack for each of your banished dinosaur type monsters. However, you can only use this effect with Giant Rex once per turn. Now, this is a pretty decent effect. There are a handful of cards in the game that like to banish dinosaur-type monsters, so you can combo them with Giant Rex to banish it, get the beneficial effect of that card, and then you get your Giant Rex back. So that's something. However, the cannot attack directly is quite a big downside, so Giant Rex is pretty much going to be stuck just knocking opponent's monsters out of the way for your other dinos to attack with, or to attack past then. And that's all of his reward cards, so let's go ahead and give an example duel. Ideally, I will win, and in fact, I hope I win, because if I do, I should get enough points to actually unlock Hassleberry, and then we can check out his level rewards, his skills, and all that other fun stuff. And if you'll excuse me, I actually need to take a drink. Ugh. Okay, that's not a fantastic starting hand. That didn't make it much better, unfortunately. Now, fortunately, Hassleberry does not have any spell trap destruction. So, I can't play any monsters, which is bad. But I don't think he can deal 4,000 damage at once. In fact, just to start cycling through the deck, I'm going to go ahead and start activating Good Goblin Housekeepings. I'm not going to activate my second one just yet, because I actually want both of these cards in my hand. That I will definitely send back into the deck, though. Jeez Louise, okay. I was really hoping there'd be a Euclidean in there somewhere. Alright, well let's go ahead and set Ultimate Providence and get ready for his spells. And then, yeah, let's set Pathfinder just to tank an attack. And it looks like he's getting some pretty bad draws, which is another sort of... Hey, we finally got a Euclidean. Excellent. That is another factor that this deck kind of relies on, is that Tail Swipe and Earthquake are really the only two cards in Hassleberry's entire deck that pose a threat to this one. And unlike most other duelists in the entire game, his deck is 30 cards. So you actually have a decent chance of not seeing either one pretty early on in the duel, so hopefully you can get everything set up and ready to protect yourself when he tries to use them. Just be sure to not accidentally activate Ultimate Providence in response to something like your Golden Ladybug's effects. And I am not letting you do that. Because the game will ask you if you want to activate Ultimate Providence every time you activate a Golden Ladybug effect. So, no, because you're just gonna destroy it anyway. I mean, I could have revived Planet Pathfinder, but it just would have gotten destroyed, so there's no point. So, just, I guess the main thing that I'm trying to get at is that this is not a farming strategy that you can be lazy with. You do have to be quite attentive most of the time, and just kind of pay attention to what he's doing. Pay very close attention when you do have an Ultimate Providence set, so you don't accidentally trigger it on yourself. And I'm scared of this. He has Tail Swipe. Alright, well, I lose. That was one thing I was scared of. And I was actually just about to remark on it, is Earthquake is the more dangerous of the two cards because he can just activate it at any time. Tail Swipe, he has to have at least a level 6 dinosaur monster on the field first. So, that was unfortunately a loss. However, that was a fairly quick loss, so let's go ahead and try again. Especially because I actually need to unlock him so we can do the rest of this video. Come on now. Open the gate. Thank you. So, there's some of the inconsistency. Now, to be fair, Tail Swipe is also less dangerous than Earthquake, because Tail Swipe can only return 2 monsters to your hand. So if I had ever gotten a third Euclidean, which would have been very nice, I still would have been fine because Tail Swipe would have only been able to remove 2. Earthquake is definitely the most dangerous card that he has. Perfect starting hand. Thank you, deck. Yeah, Earthquake is definitely the most dangerous card that he has because it just switches everything on the field, or every face-up monster on the field, to defense mode, and that will just cause all of your Euclideans to immediately self-destruct. So, let's go ahead, activate a Sanctuary, summon a Cirrostratus, and let's just hope that he doesn't already have Earthquake. Okay. Whenever I hear the sound effect of a card being activated, I panic a little bit. At least until I get an Ultimate Providence in play. If I was smart, I would have summoned Planet Pathfinder. Okay, well there's one of the biggest monsters in his entire deck. This is Ultimate Tyranno, a level 8 Earth Dinosaur that can attack everything you control once each. Although it does also have the condition that during your battle phase, Ultimate Tyranno has to attack first. But it doesn't look like he has a Tail Swipe yet, which is good. So I will go ahead and use the Planet Pathfinder to search out my 3rd Sanctuary in the sky and try to thin the deck just a little bit more. See if maybe it wants to give me an Ultimate Providence soon. And this is... Alright, we got an Ultimate Providence. Good. So, still need to find the other one to be truly safe. But, otherwise, nothing to fear. And this is basically how farming with this deck is going to go. You're going to be racing to get... Once you get a Euclidean and a field spell in play, you're basically racing to draw Ultimate Providence before he draws his spells. I'm not going to counter that, because I can ignore this. I can completely ignore his Tail Swipe. So I guess that actually is the other thing, is if you manage to get 3 Euclideans in play, you don't have to Providence his Tail Swipe. You can just ignore it, like I did. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. I didn't really get that much sleep last night, so sorry if I seem to be reiterating the same points over and over again. Let's go ahead and use Good Goblin Housekeeping. Just start trying to thin the deck a little bit more. I know the first Good Goblin doesn't really do anything, but getting it in the graveyard early lets me get more out of the others. Some of the other Cirrostratus. Still not going to activate Providence. And now it's a waiting game. Okay, I can definitely activate Squall. Use this, and in fact, let's just go ahead and start bombing his monsters, shall we? Just start messing with them. This is another strategy you can do if he ever summons a dinosaur that is strong enough to let him use Tail Swipe, and you happen to have a Cirrostratus. You can destroy it before he has a chance to draw it. But just be aware that it's possible he will draw Tail Swipe and then find another compatible dinosaur to use with it. So it's not a guarantee that you've nullified Tail Swipe if you decide to destroy his monsters, but you know, just more ways to try and delay and slow him down so that you can get what you need. Go ahead and take out his trap card. What was that again? Jurassic Impact. If you control 2 or more dinosaur-type monsters and your life points are lower than your opponent's, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, and if you do, take 1,000 damage for each monster destroyed, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the damage you took till the end of the next turn. After this card is activated, now your player can summon. Okay. That seems like a dangerous trap card, but I don't think the AI will ever activate it, simply because, yeah, he'd hurt himself more than he hurts you. Like, if he were to activate it right now, he'd take 5,000 damage and lose immediately. So I don't think you ever have to worry about Jurassic Impact so long as you have... Hell, so long as you just have 2 Cloudians on the field, he can't activate it, because then he'll just destroy himself. So, that's cool to know. Let's go ahead and toss a Planet Pathfinder, because we don't need it. Counter Earthquake, and we should be set from here. He has no way of recovering cards out of his graveyard, or at least not spell cards. I think he probably has a dino. Okay. He does have a copy of Living Fossil, which is an equip card that lets him revive something from his graveyard, but I don't think he can recover Earthquake. In fact, I'm like 99.9% sure he can't recover Earthquake. Okay. Not scared. I know you don't have another tail swipe. Got a good Goblin, so that'll help speed this along a little bit. Pardon me. Let's go ahead and just start destroying his stuff, because why not? I think there's a dual assessments bonus you can get for destroying a certain number of his monsters. Or I guess technically your opponent's monsters. But I don't know if it has to activate through battle or if card effects like these Cloudians work. Let's go ahead and throw anti-magic arrows back. The last good Goblin housekeeping, so this will make things nice and quick. Go ahead and toss anything other than a ladybug, really. Tribute both for Drax Spinos. Still not scared because he can't do anything. And send Harshoth back, because why not? Keep activating the ladybugs, keep accumulating life points, even though they've got more than enough. No, actually not quite. Oh, no. No, I've got more than enough. Because I was about to say, because Neo Parshoth only gains power equal to the difference in your life points in his, he'd gain 11,000, and for a second I thought that wouldn't be enough to do over 10,000 damage to Hassleberry because I have to attack a monster, but I'm going to be able to easily destroy all of his monsters, and what's more is I somehow forgot that Parshoth has a starting attack power of 2,300, so I could win right now if I wanted to, but I'm going for the full-on no cards left in deck bonus, and also because I threw Parshoth back into the deck, so there you go. Let's go ahead, toss that, and we win. In fact, we can just clear his entire field right now if we wanted to, and I think I'm going to, because I can, because I'm bitter about what he did on the first attempt. Yeah, there you go. That's an example of a successful farming. So, again, definitely not the most consistent option, but it is the cheapest of the viable options, I would say. Again, you just have to be mindful of what you're doing. You really can't get lazy and just kind of run on autopilot with this deck. You do have to pay attention to what you're doing. And, I mean, he's got nothing, but I'm activating it because I can. Boom. 16,000 damage, and we win. Excellent. Alright, am I going to get any of that new super rare? Or are you just going to keep giving me the super rares I already have? Didn't even give me one. Okay then. Now, more to the point, we did unlock Hassleberry. You unlock him at 420,000 event points. So, it's pretty cool. We get to check out his reward, or his level up cards, and everything else. Let's get through this text. Oh, cool. Looks like, kind of figured, considering that it has a summoning animation, but Ultimate Tyranno is a pretty nice monster, honestly. 3,000 attack, gets to attack every monster your opponent controls. Again, the only real downside is that it has to attack before anything else. But it's not forced to attack, so if your opponent does control something stronger, you don't have to attack with it, at the very least. So, let's just go in here to the missions really quick and grab... Oh. For some reason I thought you got some gems for unlocking him, but... don't know. Alright, there he is. So, let's see. He's got quite a few new skills, but let's go ahead and check out his starter deck first. I'm willing to bet that, like all starter decks, it is going to have just Ultimate Tyranno and then a bunch of trash. The block attack can be useful, but... So we have a 3,000 attack point dinosaur, and then an 1,100, a 1,200, 1,000, 1,300, 900, and 500. So, yeah, not that great of a deck. Block attack has some use. I mean, it's just kind of a decent-ish spell card, but I mean, there's other things you could easily put in your deck as well. So, alright. And I already covered Ultimate Tyranno during the duels, so no reason to repeat myself. Let's check out what his level ups are. So, okay, so you get more Evatiles and Evosaurs from leveling him up. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Alright, I'm cool with this, actually. So, let's see. Evatile Odonto. A level 2 Fire Reptile, 500 attack, 1200 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon an Evosaur monster from your hand. Okay. I mean, you'd be left with a 500 attack point monster in attack mode, but that would let you get to 1900 Tyrius, at the very least. That's it could be worse, I guess. See, at level 4 we get this Dino DNA skill, which at the beginning of each of your turns recover 200 life points. So you just get a passive healing ability? Okay. I can't be mad about that. It's going to be awful for people that like to use stall decks, because they'll just turtle up behind things like floodgate trap holes and security orbs and enemy controllers and sphere Karibos and just regain life points constantly and just make themselves even more obnoxious, but that skill can have some use. Let's see, level 6 we get some gems, at level 7 we get Evo Instant. Tribute 1 reptile type monster, special summon 1 Evosaur monster from your deck. Okay. It is worth to note that all of these Evatiles are reptiles, and obviously the Evosaurs are dinosaurs, so this will basically let you swap an Evatile for an Evosaur. Speaking of, at 10 we get Evosaur Cerato, a level 4 fire dinosaur with 1900 attack. When this card is special summoned by the effect of an Evatile monster, it gains 200 attack points. Okay. If this card was special summoned by the effect of an Evatile monster, each time this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can add 1 Evatile monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, that's probably going to be a mainstay of the deck, so it's a generally good card all around. I mean, even without the effects, it's a level 4 1900 monster. Those are really nice stats. Turns into a 2100 if it's special summoned with an Evatile's effect. And it lets you find more Evatiles to use to summon more Evosaurs. I like Cerato. It's a good card. Level 11 we get another Odonto. At level 13 we get Dinosaur Kingdom, which this used to be, I want to say, unique to Rex. Yeah. And you begin the duel with the field spell Jurassic World activated, which simply says, all dinosaur-type monsters gain 300 attack and defense. So, if you don't want passive healing, you could instead go for a 2400 4-star monster. If you want to. Level 14, you get Ultra Evolution Pill. You tribute a reptile-type monster, special summon a dinosaur-type monster from your hand, like Evatile to Evilsaur. Don't get the effects of special summoning, though, so that is something to note. And I think I already have a copy of this. I don't know. Maybe. I want to say you could get a copy of this by leveling Rex up high enough, but I'm not sure. I'll check that after we're done looking at Tyranno. 16, we get another Evo Instant. At 18, we get another Odonto. At 21, we get Evatile Westlow, a level 3 Fire Reptile, 700 attack, 1900 defense, and Flip Effect, special summon an Evilsaur monster from your deck. That's also pretty good. You set it, your opponent attacks it, will likely damage themselves, but even if they don't, you get that 2100 Cerato. Not bad. 23, we get another Ultra Evolution Pill. At 21, we get, oh, this is interesting, Sauropod Brachion, a level 8 Earth Dinosaur with 1500 attack and 3000 defense. Cannot be special summoned from the deck. You can tribute summon this card face up by tributing one dinosaur-type monster. Alright, that's not bad. And if you'll pardon me, okay, yeah, I am still recording. Good, good. Once per turn, you can change this card to face-down defense position. If this card is flip-summoned, change all other monsters on the field to face-down defense position. If this card is attacked, any battle damage your opponent takes from that battle is doubled. Okay, so a very tanky monster. I'm trying to think how you can make it useful, though. Because, I mean, the tribute summoning is nice, but that's going to leave it in... Well, no, because you could set it. Your opponent might be able to guess what it is, but if they don't, they're going to hit with a serious amount of recoil. Especially if you use something like Wall of Disruption to weaken their monster as it attacks. But when it comes to the whole... When this is flip summon, change everything else to face down defense position, I don't know how useful that is with a 1500 attacker. I'm not sure. Interesting card at the very least. 30, we get a third copy of Eva Instant. 33, we get a third Cerato? Or second Cerato? Second Cerato, okay. 35, we get Big Evolution Pill, a spell card. After this card's activation, it remains on the field, but destroy it during your opponent's third end phase. Tribute one dinosaur-type monster to activate this card. While this card is face up on the field, you can normal summon level 5 or higher dinosaur-type monsters without tributing. So, pardon me. Behaves a little bit like a continuous spell, and costs a dinosaur-type monster, but you can then just normal summon your big dinosaurs without having to tribute. Not bad. 38, we get the third Cerato. At 40, we get another Brachion, and at 45, we get Double Evolution Pill. Banish one dinosaur-type monster and one non-dinosaur-type monster from your hand and or graveyard. Special summon one level 7 or higher dinosaur-type monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only activate one Double Evolution Pill per turn. That's a very nice card. If you're using like the Evatiles and the Evilsaurs, you already have the activation requirements ready to go, and you can special summon something like Sauropod Brachion, Ultimate Tyranno, what was this? I swear there's another big dinosaur. Is Superconductor Tyranno in the game? I think it is, isn't it? I need to check right now. Sorry. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. So you could summon this thing. You know what? Let's just go ahead and take a look. So dinosaur 7, 8. Pretty sure there's no 9 to 12, but we'll activate those just as well. So with double evolution pill, you could summon Superconductor Tyranno, Jurac Tyranno, because it says ignore its summoning conditions, so you can, I think, maybe you can do this. I don't know. Probably Pyrorex as well. Again, not entirely sure. Overtex Coatlus, which is actually a pretty good card to combo with this because, yeah, here. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add one Evolution Pill spell from your deck to your hand. I mean, that might be harder to activate, but maybe. Jurac Spinos and Jurac Tyranno. So these are your options for summoning with double Evolution Pill. This thing does not count because it's in the extra deck. But, yeah. Very powerful spell card. Alright. So, now let's go ahead and take a look at his skills. So we have Survival of the Fittest. Can be used each time your life points decrease by 1,000 if you have 3 or more Evolution Pill cards in your deck. During your draw phase, instead of conducting your normal draw a random Evolution Pill card from your deck. This skill can be used twice per duel. Okay. So, unfortunately, you only have one double Evolution Pill no matter what. So, you have a 33% and then a 66% chance to draw it every time this activates, but could pay off. Fortunately, it is a drop skill, so you have to farm for that. Yeah, we already looked at Dino DNA. The Dino Within can be used each time your life points decrease by 1,500. Oof. Send one reptile-type monster you control, excluding tokens, to the graveyard, and special summon from your deck one dinosaur-type monster with the same attribute as that monster in the graveyard, but 3 levels higher. The monster must be able to be normal summoned. The skill can only be used once per turn. I don't know how you would use this. I'm assuming... I mean, obviously you'd have to have several reptiles on the field to begin with, because my first thought is that you would likely take the 1,500 damage by... Well, no, I don't think it has to be activated when you take the 1,500. I think it might be like the draw sense skills, where once you've taken that damage, you can then activate it during your next turn whenever you feel like it. So you could just leave yourself open on the first turn, take a big hit to the face, then summon an Evotile, use its effect to summon an Evolsaur, then tribute the Evotile for another big dinosaur. Interesting. Conditional, especially because it has to be exactly 3 levels higher. So if you give up a 2, you have to give a 5. But could be useful. New Ultra Evolution. Can be used each time your life points decrease by 1,500. Send one winged beast-type monster you control, excluding tokens, to the graveyard, and special summon one dinosaur-type monster from your hand. The monster must be able to be normal summoned. The skill can only be used once per turn. Alright. Bit different from Dino Within. You special summon from your hand as opposed to the deck, but there's no level limit at the very least. Interesting. He's definitely got a lot of interesting skills so far. I think I skipped over this on accident. Apparently. This you get at level 20. I think I must have just glazed over. Unstoppable Dino Power. Increase the attack and defense of all dinosaur-type monsters you control by 100. Skill can only be used once per turn. 100's not that much of a boost. Could be useful, especially if you have a lot of other power boosting things like Jurassic World and your Evilsaur effects are going off, but let's see, we've seen Dinosaur Kingdom, and then you can also get Draw Pass. During your draw phase, instead of conducting your draw, you can recover 300 life points. However, you can only do this up to 3 times per duel. Draw Sense Earth, so when you lose 1500 life points, instead of doing a normal draw, you can draw a random Earth attribute monster out of your deck. High level, so if you lose 1800, you can draw a random level 5 or higher monster. Heavy Starter, if you have 3 or more level 5 or higher monsters with different names in your deck, you'll have a higher chance of having one in your hand at the start. This skill can actually be pretty good if you combo with the evolution pills. So, actually it said level 5, right? Yeah. So this is something else you could do. The Evilsaur Terius is... It's a level 6, I want to say. It's a 5 or a 6, but the point is that you could throw this into your deck to take up one of those level, one of the 3 slots, and then even if you draw it, your Evil Tiles are going to have a pretty decent chance of summoning it. And again, its power is going to drop to 1900 as opposed to 2400, but it's still something you can make use of. And then Life Point Boost Alpha, so gain an extra 1000 life points at the start of the duel. Life Point Boost Gamma, where you gain an extra 2500, but you only draw 2 cards for your starting hand as opposed to 4. And then finally, Restart, so reveal your starting hand, redraw it, and your first draw will be skipped. So, I accidentally clicked with my loud mouse. So, yeah, lots of interesting skills, lots of very interesting, unique skills for Hassleberry as well. I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit afraid that he was just going to be a copy of Rex, and just have like pretty much the exact same skill pool, but I'm pleasantly surprised with the abilities that he has. This is pretty cool. I'm actually looking forward to leveling him up and trying out some dinosaur decks, so yeah, that's pretty awesome. And before we finish up, let's go ahead and take a look at the cumulative rewards. These will go by pretty quickly just because it's kind of most of the same. So at 220,000, you get a copy of Evilsaur Terius. It is a level 6. Alright, just wanted to check. 420,000, you get Hassleberry. At 800,000, you get Evitile Pluro. At 1.3 million, you get these card sleeves. At 1.9 million, you get Survival's End. 2.8 million, you get a copy of the game mat. 4.3 million, you get Stegocyber. Where the hell did this thing come from? This is a level 6 Dark Dinosaur. 1200 attack, 2400 defense. During damage calculation, if your opponent's monster attacks while this card is in your graveyard, you can pay 1000 life points, special summon this card, and if you do, you take no battle damage from that battle, but banish this card when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Stegocyber once per turn. I'm going to check something when we're done looking at this list. At 5.2 million, you get this icon. Then at 6 million, it looks like you just get like a celebration, like, yay, you got all the main rewards, now we're just going to give you rare jewels, sort of a thing. But, this Stegos, I guess the only way you get it is with the points. Weird. Oh, wait, I bet you can get another copy with the Card Trader EX. Okay, so you can get up to 2 copies of Stegocyber at the very least through this event. Because once you buy one of the cards here, he does not restock. But you can also get some of the... You can get another Jurassic World if you need it. But you can also get copies of his monsters, copies of other things that might be useful. So there you go. Not really going to cover this because most of the cards in here that are worth it I already covered. Oh, except that one. I think they took this out of his reward pool. This is Survival of the Fittest. A trap card where you target a dinosaur type monster you control. You equip this card to that target and it gains 1,000 attack points. When that attacking monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, the equipped monster can make a second attack on an opponent's monster in a row. So, pretty powerful card. As you can see, I managed to get 8 copies somehow when he was a roaming duelist, yet it took me forever to get 3 copies of Black Stego. But, yeah, I mean, think of it this way. You put this thing on Ultimate Tyranno, you get a 4,000 attack point monster that can attack everything your opponent has. Pretty useful trap card if you ask me. Just giving any of your dinos a 1,000 attack point boost is pretty awesome in and of itself, let alone giving it a second attack against opponent's monsters at the very least. But now I'm paranoid. Oh yeah, this... missing all the obvious cards. Destroyer-saurus, level 4 Earth Dinosaur, 1800 attack, 1100 defense. You can discard this card to the graveyard to add a Jurassic World from your deck to your hand. And actually, yeah, these were also cycled out reward cards. Interesting. Konami's getting more and more, or Konami's doing that more and more. Anyway, this is Jurac Protops. It's a level 4 Fire Dinosaur, 1700 attack, 1200 defense, gains 100 attack for every monster your opponent controls. And finally, Jurac Spinos, a level 7 Fire Dinosaur, 2600 attack, 1700 defense. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you special summon a Spinos token in attack position to your opponent's side of the field. Interesting, don't quite know the use other than just kind of plugging up their field, but they could just tribute the tokens for stuff. But, yeah. So, a couple of interesting cards. Pretty sure that's all the important ones. I'm sure I missed one somewhere, considering he has a lot of odd reward cards hidden away in certain places, but there you go. That's everything of any real significant importance with the Tyranno Hassleberry Unlock event. Again, as far as I can tell. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a great time, and I hope you all have a great day. And I will see you all in the next one.